Order, order. Under the provisions of Standing Order Number 1A, I am now required to ascertain whether Sir Lindsay Hoyle is willing to be chosen as Speaker, and I call Sir Lindsay Hoyle. Yeah.
Before I take the chair as Speaker-elect, I wish to thank the House for the honour that is again bestowed upon me. I am aware that it is the greatest honour it can give any of its members. I propose to do all within my power to preserve and cherish its best traditions. Right, could I just also say thank you to both of you, Kat and Davey. Thank you. May we continue with that. I now call the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer.
Mr. Speaker-elect, on behalf of the whole House, may I be the first to congratulate you on your re-election. Those of us here in the previous Parliament will always remember the wonderful support that you provided to the former Conservative member, Craig McKinley, and his inspiring battle to overcome his injuries from sepsis. All of those returning will remember, as I do, the speech he gave just a few weeks ago, which was inspiring and moving, and we wish him well. And I had the privilege on that occasion to meet his family and his young daughter. That support, Mr. Speaker-elect, was characteristic of your profound care for the interests and welfare of all members, especially backbenchers. And I'm grateful that new members will be able to look to you as they begin the great privilege of serving their constituents in this House. And may I too welcome each and every one of the new members who is here for the first time starting their great responsibility. May I also thank Sir Edward for presiding over this election and congratulate him on becoming the new Father of the House. More than 40 years of continuous service. That is a stunning achievement. And now, back in the 1970s, Sir Edward wrote a book described as, and I quote, a personal collection of quotations dating from 3000 BC to the present day, which might be said to cast some light on the workings of the Tory mind. Mr. Speaker-elect, after the last 6 weeks, I think it might be time for a new edition. Mr. Speaker-elect, you preside over a new Parliament, the most diverse Parliament by race and gender this country has ever seen. And I'm proud of the part that my party has played in that, proud of the part that every party has played in that, including in this intake, the largest cohort of LGBT plus MPs of any Parliament in the world. And given all that diversity, Mr. Speaker-elect, I hope you will not begrudge me for a slight departure from convention to also pay tribute to the new Mother of the House, Diane Abbott, who has done so much in her career over so many years to fight for a Parliament that truly represents modern Britain. We welcome her back to her place. And now, as in any new Parliament, we have the opportunity and the responsibility to put an end to a politics that has too often seemed self-serving and self-obsessed, and to replace that politics of performance with the politics of service. Because service is a precondition for hope and trust, and the need to restore trust should weigh heavily on every member here, new and returning alike. We all have a duty to show that politics can be a force for good. So whatever our political differences, it's now time to turn the page, unite in a common endeavour of national renewal, and make this new Parliament a Parliament of service. Thank you.
I now call the Leader of the Opposition, Rishi Sunak.
Well, Mr. Speaker-elect, I'm pleased to join the Prime Minister in welcoming you back to the Speaker's chair. And can I also praise the wonderful speech from the Honourable Member for Lancaster and Wyre? And can I start by congratulating the Prime Minister on his election victory? And as he takes on his formidable task, he and his family deserve the good wishes of all of us in this House. Now, in our politics, we can argue vigorously, as the Prime Minister and I did over the past 6 weeks, but still respect each other. And whatever disputes we may have in this Parliament, I know that everyone in this House will not lose sight of the fact that we are all motivated by our desire to serve our constituents, our country, and advance the principles that we honourably believe in. And to every member, new and old, let me welcome them to their places and congratulate them on their results. To be sent to this place by one's constituents is the greatest honour, privilege, and responsibility. I know every one of us will be trying to repay the trust placed in us, and I look forward to continuing to represent the interests of my own rural North Yorkshire constituents. One of the great aspects of our system is no matter how high you rise, you still have that constituency which keeps you grounded. And my advice to all members is to appreciate the role that you have every day that you have it. And for those of us in my party, let me begin with a message to those who are no longer sitting behind me. I am sorry. We have lost too many diligent, community-spirited representatives whose wisdom and expertise will be missed in the debates and discussions ahead. It is important that after 14 years in government, the Conservative Party rebuilds. So now we will take up the crucial role of His Majesty's official opposition, professionally, effectively, and humbly. And restoring trust begins by remembering that being here is an opportunity to do what those we serve expect of us. And in our case, that means holding the new government to account. Can I congratulate the Father of the House, the member for Gainsborough? My right honourable friend has given 41 years of remarkable, dedicated service to this House and his constituency. I know full well how ferociously my right honourable friend fights for the interests of his constituents, and I applaud him for that. My right honourable friend is also testament to the benefits of an early morning dip in the Serpentine. And members may be interested to note that the Bottomleys have also had a big influence on my right honourable friend's career. It was in 1974 that my right honourable friend ran against Arthur Bottomley in Middlesbrough in his first effort to enter this place. And today, he takes over from Sir Peter, who will be missed. And can I also congratulate the new mother of the House, the member for Hackney North and Stoke Newington. We have our differences on policy, but no one can deny the right honourable lady's important role in this House and the inspiration for so many young women of colour that she has provided. The right honourable lady is true in every sense of the word, a trailblazer. And can I join with you, Mr. Speaker-elect, to thank House staff for their hard work in welcoming our new colleagues to this House and their service over the coming Parliament. And finally, may I congratulate you, Mr. Speaker-elect. When you first ascended to the Speaker's chair, you did so with a healthy majority, and that was testament to your wide appeal and the confidence in which this House places in you and your judgments. The last Conservative Prime Minister, the Right Honourable John Major, who spoke from these opposition benches, said about the role of the Speaker, the job specification is pretty daunting. The patience of Job and the wisdom of Solomon are only the basic requirements. We demand also impartiality, independence and fairness. Well, Mr. Speaker-elect, you have shown over the past 4.5 years how to protect that careful balance. The last few years in this House have been at times difficult, and you, sir, have always brought this House together. That was clear when we lost our colleague, Sir David Amess. And I know your guidance and support for members then was greatly appreciated. It is a privilege to be in this House. Our democracy is powerful, and as we have witnessed, it can be definitive. But I know that this House will, true to its best traditions, hold the executive to account. And I know that Mr. Speaker-elect will facilitate that. So in conclusion, Mr. Speaker-elect, I have no doubt that we will face difficult days together in this place, but I also know that I speak for the whole House when I say that we will all welcome your leadership and guidance in the months and years ahead.
I call the leader of the Liberal Democrats, Ed Davey.
Mr. Speaker-elect, it is a real pleasure and privilege to say on behalf of these benchers congratulations on your re-election. You know only too well how tough a task you're taking on, so thank you for agreeing to serve. You've shown time and again your commitment to the vital role this House plays in holding the government of the day to account. The new government of the day, as the Mother of the House has just said, faces a very difficult task, clearing up the mess it has inherited. We on these benches will hold the government to account. That is our job. We will focus on the health and care crisis. We will focus on ending the sewage scandal. We will focus on helping people with the cost of living crisis. Mr. Speaker-elect, the new government has a huge majority, and therefore it's a particularly difficult job for the Speaker to help the opposition parties as it does its job in holding the government to account. I'm sure you'll do it with independence and impartiality, as you always have done. And we on these benches want to work constructively with you as you do that, as the largest third-party force in this Parliament for over 100 years. And for new members, can I say, Mr. Speaker-elect has always been a real champion for the security and safety of all members and all our staff, as well as looking after our health and welfare, and we are grateful to you for doing that, sir. Just yesterday, you asked after my health following my active campaign. And the House may be interested to know that after I had reassured you about my health, you expressed real enthusiasm about bungee jumping. So can I congratulate you again and wish you the very best for this Parliament.
National Party, Stephen Flynn.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I wish to begin by welcoming all new members to the Chamber, in particular those members from Scottish constituencies. There's probably a few more new members from Scottish constituencies than I would like to have seen, but I do look forward to working constructively with you to deliver in the best interest of the people that we are all so fortunate to represent. To you, Mr. Speaker-elect, I think it's safe to say that me and you didn't always see eye to eye during the course of the last Parliament. But in politics and in life, I think it's important to let bygones be bygones and to focus on the future. And I think events of that time showed us that me and you have quite a lot in common when it comes to both then and indeed the general election, because despite the best efforts and indeed the best intentions of certain people, we both managed to hang on to the seats that we hold so dear. Mr. Speaker, I do look forward to working constructively with you over the course of the coming weeks, months and years to allow us to best represent the people that we respect in the finest traditions of this House. Thank you very much.
I now call the Leader of Reform UK, Nigel Farage.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker-elect, thank you very much indeed. We are the new kids on the block. We have no experience in this Parliament whatsoever, even though some of us have tried many times over the years previously to get here. So we can't judge you from working in this place, but we can judge you from the way the outside world sees you. And I don't just mean the United Kingdom, I mean the world, because Prime Minister's Questions time is global box office politics, and it's pretty clear to everybody that you act with great neutrality, that you have brought tremendous dignity to the role as Speaker, so we absolutely endorse you entirely for this job. And it is, I must say, in marked contrast to the little man that was there before you and besmirched the office so dreadfully, in doing his best to overturn the biggest democratic result in the history of the country. We support you, sir, fully.
I now call the Leader of Plaid Cymru, Liz Savile-Roberts.
Diolch yn fawr iawn, Lefarydd, and I too rise to congratulate you on your re-election as Speaker of this House and to wish you well, of course, in presiding over this historic session of the new Parliament. And I'm heartened that for the first time in history, the proportion of women elected here is over 40%. And more than half of those are new to this House. It is fantastic to see steady progress towards proper representation. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to congratulate not just the incoming government for their victory, but also the smaller parties in this place. All of us here, whether we belong to the largest parties, the smallest parties, or no parties at all, we were all elected in the same way. Whatever the size of our parliamentary grouping, the principle of one vote, one value is the foundation of our democracy, and that principle should be cherished and defended for the sake of all our constituents. And I repeat now to the House, Mr. Speaker, what I said upon your election all those years ago. All those constituents are equal and they all deserve respect. We begin the work of representing and championing our constituents, and I have every confidence, Mr. Speaker, that you will continue to ensure that representatives here are treated fairly, because our constituents should be treated fairly too. Diolch yn fawr iawn.